adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring that jet-age aerial ace, Rocket J. Squirrel. And his pal, Bullwinkle the Moose.
Hi, glad to see you again.
Likewise.
We got some great things on the show today.
Like what? Like what?
Well, you ought to know, Bullwinkle. You're in some of them.
Well, let's get started.
Well, we always say that when better fiendish plans are made, Boris Badenov will make them. His latest was to disguise himself and Natasha as inspectors for the electric company.
Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watts at your service.
Their scheme was to rob a whole town by cutting the main power line leading to Squaw's Ankle, Wyoming, and plunging the town into darkness. And this time, oddly enough, the scheme worked. Back in Squaw's Ankle, our heroes noticed immediately that something was wrong.
It's dark.
Pretty shrewd.
Thanks.
It did get late all of a sudden, didn't it?
Yeah. Looks like every light bulb in town went out at the same time.
They don't make 'em like they used to.
Let's go see what's the matter.
Our boys started off, but unable to see where he was going, Bullwinkle stumbled over a small dog and crashed his antler through a store window.
Are you hurt, Bullwinkle?
Nope, but I'm afraid I bent this window a bit.
What's that wire around your antler?
Don't know. Leads back into the stores.
Here, I'll light a match and hokey smoke.
You're a little young to hokey smoke yet, Rocky. I think...
Bullwinkle, this is no laughing matter.
What's it doing in the dialogue?
Look here.
Sure enough, that wire was part of the store's burglar alarm system. But just then, a familiar figure came on the scene carrying a flashlight.
Oop!
Hey, it's Mr. Wangle, the bank president.
Glad I ran into you, boys.
You didn't. You walked into us.
We gotta get to the bank. We're in trouble.
They coming to look at the books?
Even worse. With no electricity, our safe isn't safe anymore.
Not even half safe?
It won't even stay closed.
Uh-oh.
You said it.
Sure enough, when our friends dashed into the bank and shone their flashlights on the vault, the huge door was sagging wide open.
Gee, this must be happening all over town.
Golly, looks like bank night for bank robbers.
It was true. The whole town lay at the mercy of anyone mean and dirty enough to come in and rob it.
And you know who he means, don't you, folks?
The two villains strolled into the lonely outskirts of Squaw's Ankle and headed for the first store in town, the Bonton Bootery. Sure enough, the door swung open freely, no burglar alarm sounded, and the two villains were able to slip inside with no trouble at all. And small wonder, for the Bonton Bootery had been out of business for 14 years.
Never mind. It's good practice anyway. Come on.
Meanwhile, back in the middle of town, our heroes were in a dimly lit billiard parlor.
Bullwinkle, I got it.
8 ball in the side pocket.
No, an idea.
Yeah, must have got the wrong cue.
What about our worms?
Yeah, what about them?
Good idea, huh?
Yeah, what about them?
Don't you remember our herd of worms?
Hmm?
What do we raise on our ranch? All right, if you insist, we'll flash back.
And Rocky reminded Bullwinkle that when they had been herding their fishing worms underground, lightning had struck the herd and every worm had been supercharged. As a result, they lit up like a lot of Christmas tree lights, which made them very picturesque, but quite useless as bait.
Oh, those worms.
Gee, Bullwinkle, it was only 2 days ago.
Well, I've slept since then.
And where are those worms today?
I give up. Now let me ask you one. Whatever happened to Evelyn Brent?
They're right outside in our armored car, that's where.
Evelyn Brent?
The worms.
Oh,
Come on, Bullwinkle. We're going to use them to protect the town.
these little creeps?
Well, if Rocky has a plan, he'd better put it into action quick, for Boris and Natasha have just turned the corner and are heading for the Hog Breeders National Bank.
Last one into vault is dirty, no good, Nick.
You kidding? I'm always dirty, no good, Nick.
Be with us next time for Just Boris and Me, or The Yeg and I.
There was no such thing as monotony in merry old England, for whenever things got dull, good King Arthur would hold a tournament. Eventually, one solitary knight emerged victorious to receive the plaudits of his king. On this particular occasion, it was a gallant but rotund fellow named Circumference.
Splendid performance, Circumference.
Oh, thank you, Your Grace. Oh, that last chap was rather sturdy. I had to smash him with the mace.
It was discovered to everyone's horror that last chap was not a chap at all, but rather Queen Guinevere.
Oh, no wonder he wore a dress.
I've a good mind to denight you. Instead, I shall send you to Chickenshire.
Chickenshire, the most cowardly town in the nation, was well named.
Run for your lives! There's a lion in the streets!
Actually, it was a 3-week-old kitten. Circumference and his wife set up housekeeping in a large but run-down castle on the edge of town. Each day, one or more Chickenshireans would run up to the drawbridge, grab the trumpet that hung from a tree, and let go with a deafening blast.
What's the trouble?
It's raining.
Is that all?
Is that all? We might drown.
It was occurrences like that turned a once proud knight into a lazy loafer.
Well, are you just going to sit there? Someone's blowing the trumpet.
Let him blow.
The years went by, and the only fighting Circumference did was with his wife. Not too far from Chickenshire, about a stone's throw and a half, sat an institution of learning, a college, and a highly unorthodox college, for this was Dragon U, where dragons of all shapes and sizes studied in the art of combat. Oh, look, I see. We're just in time for graduation exercises.
And so, it is with the utmost pride that I hand out these diplomas.
Dragon after dragon took his scroll, received a heartfelt claw shake, and left the stand, all but one, named Milo.
Where's my diploma, sir?
I'm afraid you flunked again, Milo.
But gosh, Dean, I've been a senior for 40 years, and I still haven't graduated.
Calculus, Milo. You're weak in calculus.
There must be some way I can become a full-fledged dragon.
There was. According to the Dragon Magna Carta, a dragon could slay 13 knights and thus attain dragonhood.
But to prove that you've slain 13 knights, you must bring me 13 helmets.
It was either that or another semester, so Milo set out to slay 13 knights.
I wouldn't know a knight if I saw one.
His meanderings eventually took him to a tiny hamlet where he spotted something of great interest.
Helmets by Dantine.
There, nestled snugly beneath a tree, stood a helmet shop.
That's it. I'll buy 13 helmets and give 'em to the dean and tell him I took 'em off 13 knights, which I slewn in fierce combat.
2 weeks later in the dean's office.
10, 11, 12. Milo, there are only 12 helmets here.
Why, that dirty?
One more, my boy. One more helmet. Oh, and the helmet I should like you to get belongs to a knight named Circumference.
And much as he hated it, Milo set off to procure his 13th helmet, the hard way.
There they go again.
It's not one of the villagers, lovey. It's a dragon.
All my days are dragon. But I'll take a look. What do you want?
Put on your helmet, O knight, and we shall do battle.
Go away.
I said, bring down your battle axe.
My wife stays here.
This gave the desperate beast an idea. Under cover of darkness, he stole into the castle and made off with Circumference's wife. The next day...
So, you took my wife, huh? So what?
Well, doesn't that make you mad?
Are you kidding?
Okay, then I'll bring her back.
That made Circumference mad. Jumping into his armor, he rushed out of the castle and engaged the dragon in mortal combat. The battle lasted for days. Finally, after 2 weeks of bitter, unending struggle...
Hey, this is work, you know.
Yeah, more than I've done in years. Look, dragon.
Milo.
Look, Milo. Why are you after my scalp?
Oh, it isn't your scalp, it's your helmet. You see...
And Circumference was filled in on his opponent's plight.
Well, if that's all you want, here.
Milo couldn't believe his eyes. He now had the 13th helmet.
Oh, I'm proud of you, my boy.
It was nothing, Dean.
Let me see. 13 helmets. Yes, they're all here.
Can I have my diploma now?
Well, there is one small formality.
Oh?
According to the Magna Carta, You must now eat the 13 helmets.
You're kidding.
Read it.
Dear, 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 poor Milo. He ate every last one of those helmets. And after eating them, he wasn't much good for anything. You might say he had one too many nightcaps.
And now, here's the world's only tennis pro with antlers, Mr. Know-It-All.
Hi, racketeers everywhere! Today our subject is how to play winning tennis. The first thing to do on the court is to establish who is the master by using your pulverizing, non-returnable serve, like this. Whoop.
Okay, let's stop kidding around and play tennis.
And here you have my next example. Build up your opponent's false confidence at the start of the game. Then proceed to beat him with an easy lob.
My point.
I wasn't ready! Another way to ruin your opponent's composure is to switch rackets with him. Playing with an unfamiliar racket, he will be sure to lose the game.
Is we going to play or ain't?
One moment, sir. I'm pretty sure you have my racket. I insist that we trade.
Anything you say, buddy. Service.
Oof. Now, friends, comes the one surefire way to beat your opponent. You pretend that you're injured. This makes him feel sorry for you, and he'll start to play badly.
Oh! Well, I think that's game and set. So long, lame brain.
Gee, Mr. Know-It-All, it didn't work to pretend you were injured.
Who's pretending?
And you call that how to play winning tennis?
Of course. He won, didn't he? Eeny, meeny, chilly beany. The spirits are about to speak.
Are they friendly spirits?
Friendly? Just listen.
COD. To Americans, it meant cash on delivery. To the rest of the world, it spelled out a type of fish. To the good folk of Canada, COD stood for something entirely different. You are looking at the Canadian National Bank. You are now looking at the man who owns it, O.D. Pringle.
COD?
Yes, I see. Quite a fall.
Guaranteed burgle-proof, OD.
Let's hope so, Oberlin.
That night after the employees had gone home, a skulking figure clad in black stole up to a rear window, opened it, and entered the bank illegally.
I smell money, pelf, mammon, filthy lucre.
The gentleman with the withdrawal symptoms is that villainous rascal Snidely Whiplash.
I may be a Harvard man, but there's nothing I like better than picking a Yale lock.
Whiplash was in for a surprise, for this vault had a new combination lock.
A mere truffle. Take a number from 1 to 10, double it, and add $1 million.
This was known as the Dick Powell Ruby Keeler method. It worked to perfection.
Everything I do works to perfection, until the denouement.
This time it was going to be different. Whiplash was going to get it early. For who should be waiting inside the vault? None other than our hero, Dudley Do-Right, who had mistaken it for a telephone booth.
Elevate your hand skyward, Whiplash, else I shall fire in your general direction with my Mountie pistol, with the cord on it.
Do-Right, what do you want from me?
A nickel to make my phone call. Then you shall accompany me to prison, where you will do time, and a few other magazines, too.
Curses foiled again.
Snidely Whiplash received a sentence of 20 years, but time off for good behavior got him out in 2 weeks.
Drop in and see us again, 4936521.
Never, I reiterate, never will I darken your door again, because henceforth all my crimes will go undetected.
Well, I certainly hope so.
A few weeks later, it happened to be Guy Fawkes Day, a gala occasion for the Mountie Post.
But, Nell, you promised the next dance to me.
I did not. I promised it to your host.
But so far you have danced every dance with him.
He keeps buying tickets. What can I do?
Evening, Do-Right.
Oh, good evening, Inspector. How about the next dance?
Sorry, your horse asked me first.
He must have a conga line going.
Oh, by the way, Do-Right, I just got a tip that the Bank of Manitoba is going to be robbed.
Well, well.
I thought that would excite you. Take the new man and look into it.
New man, sir? I didn't know he had it.
Mother of pearl, it's the shining light of justice himself, Dudley Do-Right.
I have seen that face before. Your name, new man, what happens it to be?
Arnold, Benedict Arnold.
Benny and I went to West Point together.
Constables Do Right and Arnold left for Manitoba bright and early the next morning. Well, at least early.
I don't see any signs of a bank robbery.
I don't either. Oh, my, what an attractive chandelier.
Where?
There.
With Dudley rendered more unconscious than usual, it was a simple matter for Whiplash to relieve the bank of its resources.
A false alarm, you say?
The only thing we saw was a chandelier, Inspector.
Well, a phone call just came through. The Quebec Express is going to be robbed at noon. Stop it.
To hear is to obey.
My very words.
Oh, Arnold.
Sir?
You dropped a sack of coins.
Money from home.
Just 1 minute. How come that sack has Bank of Manitoba printed on it?
That's where Dad buys all his sacks.
Oh.
Once more, the intrepid pair set off to foil a robbery.
We have searched the length and breadth of this train, but no evidence of foul play.
Well, what do you know? Look up there.
What is it, another chandelier?
No, it's a Bunsen burner.
Another wild goose chase, eh?
Yes, and my heart knows what the wild goose knows.
All right, men, you're dismissed. Oh, and Arnold?
Sir?
That safe you brought back marked property of the Quebec Express. Don't leave it here. It clutters up my office.
The one-man crime wave went on for a month until Whiplash had amassed a tidy fortune. It was then time for him to retreat.
Am I glad to get rid of that silly hat?
Aha! Caught you hat-handed.
What's up, Do Right?
My dander, snidely Whiplash.
Oh, you're mistaking me for someone else. My name is Benedict Arnold.
Pshaw.
You won't take me without a fight.
Man against man, good against evil, Dudley against Whiplash. And then suddenly...
Look up there.
What is it, a Bunsen burner?
No, a chandelier.
And so Constable Benedict Arnold gave his life in the line of duty. We shall all miss him.
Sir?
Yes, Do Right.
That leaves us short one man, doesn't it?
Oh, no. Here's Arnold's replacement. Constable Do Right, say hello to Constable John Dillinger.
Hello, Johnny.
Well, last time, things really looked black for our friends, especially when every light in Squaw's ankle went out.
Well, now starts the fun, Natasha. Last one into the bank vault is a rotten egg.
Of course, darling. But then again, so is first one. Bullwinkle, I think somebody's planning to hold up Squaw's ankle.
Won't that make her fall down?
I mean, they're going to rob the town in the dark.
Jumpin' G-horse that rock. How do we stop 'em?
We light up the town again.
But how, Rocky?
With our supercharged worm herd.
And the brave squirrel reached in the back of a nearby armored car that he and Bullwinkle happened to have.
Doesn't everybody?
And pulled out one of their special glowworms.
Now, if we can just get him to cooperate.
Meanwhile, Boris and Natasha had reached the half-open door of the bank vault.
It's just like taking brandy from a baby, Natasha.
That's taking candy, darling.
You take what you want, I take what I want.
But at that instant...
Boris, the town is all lit up like, you'll pardon the expression, Christmas tree.
Oh, boy! As old Roman ancestors used to say, in hoc signo vinces.
Meaning?
The jig is up.
Little did Boris and Natasha know that those flashing lights were really Rocky's herd of glowworms, lighting up loyally and making the street bright as day.
Keep at it, boys!
Well, with their plan ruined, Boris and Natasha had to beat a hasty retreat.
Squaw's ankle is safe at last.
Okay, fellas, you can knock off now.
I don't think they want to, Rock.
It was true. So delighted with the glowworms with their success that they stayed at their posts from that moment on. This was a boon to the citizens of Squaw's ankle, for the glowworms could change positions in a matter of seconds. Thus, the same sign was able to blink welcome to new arrivals and bye-bye to those leaving town. When a store changed hands, it was a simple matter to change signs. And glowworms were invaluable at clearance sales time. Of course, people flocked to Squaw's ankle to see this wondrous sight. Thanks to Rocky and Bullwinkle, the town was finally on the map. And so as our heroes got ready to go home...
And in gratitude, dear boy, we are changing the name of Squaw's ankle to Squirrel's ankle. Hooray!
Everybody was delighted with the idea.
Not quite everybody, Sonny Jim. Well, this is it.
This is what, darling?
This is end of electric power cable, 20 million volts. You fasten that end to that track,
I fasten this end to this track.
And then train rolls over wires.
Roast moose and squirrel fricassee.
Oh, how can you be so mean, darling?
Because it'll gonna be the end for moose and squirrel.
So?
The end always justifies the mean.
Then they can't fail this time. Congratulations, Boris.
You said it, Natasha. Shake.
Thus it was that the train bearing our heroes sped safely back toward Frostbite Falls.
Gee, I sort of hate to leave the Worm Ranch, Bullwinkle.
Oh, I don't know. I thought I was going to be a cowboy.
And?
Who wants to be known as a worm boy?
Yeah, lucky we weren't raising ducks to make down pillows out of.
How come?
Then you'd be known as a down boy.
Pretty sneaky, Rock.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
What would you say?
I'd say it was the end.
And so it is of this story. But next time we'll start a brand new bushy tale of Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
Well, I guess that about wraps up another Rocky show.
Certainly hope you enjoyed it. I did. I always say.
Bullwinkle, time for us to go.
Already? Okay, but first, here are some of the people who made this show impossible.
That's not all.
My fingers get tired. Oop! Got away from me again.
Well, see you next time. Ready, Bullwinkle?